Venters, do you ever look up at the clock and realize, holy moly, where did the day go? Well, that's what happened to me today. I walk every single day, as you guys know, but sometimes you can really get into a movie that you're watching on TV, or really get into some videos that you're watching. Today, I started looking at my very favorite YouTube creators like I normally do, and I noticed something that I notice all the time, but I never talk about it until now. Everybody talks about the same damn topics, and I'm kind of getting sick of it. I was going through all these videos literally for the last hour and a half, and it was so weird. 17 hours ago, I uploaded a video talking about people that have decided to go no contact with their folks, right? Hopefully you guys saw it. If you did, I hope you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, right? Anyway, Anton Daniels, one of my favorite YouTubers, 17 hours ago, does a video, and you won't believe it, it's on kids that have decided to go no contact with their parents. It's almost like creators, after a while, get into this loop that the algorithm recommends, same as you guys. So think about this. We live in a world where we have millions of really talented, really fun, really interesting content creators. The only problem is every single one of us runs out of shit that's fun to talk about. And so in order to get over that, we look at other creators for inspiration or for at least ideas, right? And a lot of times we end up realizing we must be thinking the same thing, because if you look at every creator, it seems like every 7 or 8 videos of theirs is on the exact same subject that it was last week or the week before. Now, I know some of you guys have heard that a lot of creators like to niche down. Jesse, niche down. Don't become an exercise guru. Become the guy that likes to walk, right? Well, everybody starts niching down, and you get to the point where certain videos are about dating. Certain videos are about the workplace, resigning, quiet quitting, right? You know, the usual stuff dealing, you know, what we deal with work. Some channels are about religion, or your thoughts on the afterlife, or science, right? But no matter what you watch, the algorithm ends up throwing a handful of creators in those subjects your way, and before you know it, those are the new videos that you watch, but they still end up going in a loop. How many times can we talk about the Orange Man before it gets a little bit boring? I don't remember a time in my life growing up where all I did was talk about the president. Our presidents that are in office, I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, they're more special and more interesting than the average person, but they're still a little boring after a while, right? And I love talking about other politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, but even they kind of bum me out after a while. Now, in case I sound frantic, it's because I'm hoping to get through with our walk without the rain coming down. That was the wild card with all this. If you think of a subject that's completely new to you, and you type it in the search window up there at the top of the YouTube page, you'll notice that it takes you to videos about that subject. But it's not like it lets you see every video that was ever made on that subject. It only shows you the top creators, and it only shows you a couple dozen videos on that subject. For the rest of your life, every time you look up that subject, it's usually going to take you to those same handful of creators. And because it's hard for us as humans just to think of random shit sometimes, you end up having a situation where, like I said, we have millions, if not tens of millions, of really neat videos out there that none of us can somehow get to. It's really weird. It's kind of like the Groundhog's Day of content creation. Every time we're looking for something new, it ends up being a video that we saw just last week. It's really kind of odd. So why are you mentioning this, Jesse? Is this another talk about the simulation from a lame-o like yourself? Yes. Every time I start thinking, why is life this way? It leads me right back to this. We must be in a dang simulation. How else can you explain it? I guess I'm whining because I really wish some sort of content creator would pop up on my feed where I felt like they really were talking about something that was just so incredible that I had to tune in. And unfortunately, I feel like almost all content creators are just losing their originalness. There's just not really any original ideas out there. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody talented will prove me wrong. But I think that's the weakness of the algorithm. It doesn't really throw you too many up-and-coming talented people that you ought to check out very often. As a matter of fact, it does the opposite. It kind of just gives you the top 2 or 3 creators and the top, let's say, a dozen or so subjects that you're constantly typing into the search window and that you're constantly clicking on. But you know as well as I do, there's a lot more than just a dozen creators. You've probably got 100 or so subscriptions. Don't you guys find it weird that even those people you subscribed to once upon a time, they don't even really send you their videos anymore? It's like the only thing they want to send you is the stuff that you've been focused on over the last couple of weeks. And again, because you keep getting this feed of the same creators who end up recycling the same videos, we all end up being in this weird echo chamber of watching videos that are no different than the ones we watched last month or even last year. So what are we going to do about this, Jesse? The only thing we can do, we're going to hit the thumbs up button. We're going to make sure we're subscribed. We're going to put on our walking shoes and we're going to walk. I'm glad that it looks like Dorothy's Wizard of Oz with all this wind and gray clouds. There's a million people that walk every day that would probably say, you know what? I'm going to skip the walk today. It's not that they're lazy. It's just that they're smart and I'm stupid. I should have called it quits today, but I'm not. The walk must go on. I can't see. I can't see. Oh my God. Help me get home, Jesus. Help me get home. You know, it's weird. I live in Arizona in Phoenix where we don't get very many windy days like this. And when you hear the wind go into your ears, it just reminds me of when you're driving down the road and you've got your head hanging out the window. You probably don't do it very much as an adult, but as a kid, we would hang our head out the windows like a dog, and you'd feel the wind going through your hair and hitting you in the ears and face. That's what this feels like to me. But it feels like a new sensation because, like I said, it's not like I'm sticking my head out the car window every day. So what's the point of all this, Jesse? The point of all this, guys, is I didn't really have a good video to share today. I was about to share one from a creator called Taylor the Fiend. He does a lot of videos about women that are, middle-aged and now they regret not having children and playing the field instead of settling down. Well, the only problem with those videos is they all kind of start to sound alike. So as I was writing down comments, I was like, oh, I can't do this one again, right? So I decided that I would tell you a little bit more about the anti-walk talk vent. What's anti-walk talk vent? Well, it's the only way I can describe how I feel today. It's one of those days where there's just no new videos out. Yes, there's videos out there, but they're all redundant. I don't know what state it was in, but there was a video I was watching yesterday, and it was describing cops that were communicating with this man. And what they didn't know is that right inside the house, because he was, in his doorway talking to the police, but right inside the guy's house, there was a woman that was like stuffed into some weird container. Could you imagine being that woman and you hear authorities outside? And it was a really sad story. Like, I think they said that the woman was even paralyzed, you know, like he stuffed her in this thing, and it was just like, golly, that is morbid. I don't think I want to talk about that on my walk. So I told you the story because I'm sure if you guys Google that, it'll pop up. But I mean, think about this. You don't really want to have a fun walk and always talk about the most bleak things. God, we live in a really sad, bleak world, right? And it's not fair because you and I both know that there are some really beautiful things that happen in this world. Heck, even this rain here. Guys, I live in Phoenix, where we look forward to the handful of days where we actually get a little moisture, where we get some rain. And I'm sure you guys noticed all this too, because before I was a creator, I was also a viewer, and I've been a viewer since like the early 2000s, you know, like 2006 or so. I've always really enjoyed YouTube videos, but I feel like the homepage of YouTube videos used to be so novel and unique, and there were a million things, and I just feel like nowadays most of us don't even use the search window, so we pretty much only view what YouTube's algorithm throws at us. And again, I challenge you, if you haven't done it before, take a look at all your content creators. It's like everybody has about a dozen or so topics that they just kind of go through and then recycle and repeat. It's really tripping me out. Like, aren't there some really neat new things we could talk about? If you guys have some fun ideas on something that you find interesting, put it down in the comment section. I can't guarantee that I'm going to find it interesting, but I am getting to the point where I feel like all the things that I find interesting are kind of tapped out. Isn't that crazy though? If you have YouTube creators that you really enjoy, and then you find that it was just so weird that Anton Daniels did a video on the same subject at exactly the same time. How crazy is that? Well, normally it would be very crazy, but when there's only a handful of subjects that everybody goes through, I guess it's just a matter of time before that stuff happens. With that being said, that means that this world has a certain bit of repetitiveness, and sometimes things come across as mundane, right? They're a little boring and repetitive. That's just the world we live in. I don't think we should make it sound like it's horrible. Sometimes the usualness of things is actually comforting. Again, that's why I take a daily walk. Get out, walk every day. Sometimes it's gonna feel like your walk was the same exact walk you took the day and the week before. But again, just remember, you're a new version of you now, because instead of walking once or twice here and there, you've been walking for quite a few months with me now. You're probably gonna start losing weight. And if you haven't, it probably simply means because you're walking but not necessarily doing the other things that are important to lose weight. So if you haven't started already, try to stay hydrated with plenty of water. Try to ditch the high fructose corn syrup drinks and the sodas, and try to avoid sugar altogether, and you'll start realizing the same thing I am, that you'll lose weight. So although I was moaning and complaining that I feel like there's nothing really to talk about in the world of YouTube, the reality is this channel is a niche down. We talk about walking here, and I hope you walk with us today, and I hope you come back and walk again tomorrow. Have a good day.